art class, October 26, 2020. What was your favorite part of the Hispanic Heritage Unit? Ms. Wilson is going to give you 10 seconds to think about it. Using the sentence stem, my favorite part of Hispanic Heritage is blank. Awesome job, scholars. During virtual art class, I will watch all videos, focus on the lesson, think through questions from Ms. Wilson, and engage in the activity. Today's agenda, we started with our opener thinking question. Next, we will do listening and learning with a read aloud, followed by a teacher-led activity themed with Dia de los Muertos Hispanic Heritage Art. Independent practice, you will finish your art to Ms. Wilson's expectations, and then we will look at some reminders. Our objective, I can learn about artists from different cultures. Purpose, to reflect about what I think about different cultures. Our second objective, I can use visual or context clues to learn art vocabulary. Purpose, to learn new words in English in a different classroom. Like we've talked about this before, there are words in art that you can learn that you won't learn in any other classroom just because it's not used in that particular setting. Current IB Unit 2, this is actually our summative week of the unit. It is where we are in place and time. We are going to use the learner profile open-minded and look at the element of art proportion. Vocabulary that you will hear today: sugar skull, decorations used during Dia de los Muertos and Day of the Dead, a celebration of our family and friends who have passed on. Please remember that the green words are in Spanish. They are the same vocabulary words, but it gives that extra connection for our friends whose first language is Spanish. Now, being that this is the summative activity for the unit, we can review some things about Hispanic heritage. And we're going to use a little help from some of our friends to do so. Some things about Hispanic heritage: they like to use bright colors and flowers in their art. They put their feelings into their work. Artists such as Frida Kahlo and Salvador Dali. They taught others to make sugar skulls. It is a memorial to loved ones who passed. You can write names on the skull of the names of the loved ones on your skull. And we also learned about luchadoras, which are wrestlers. Listening and learning reminders. Listen to the book. Be on the lookout for your vocabulary words. And when Ms. Wilson asks a question, pause the video and give yourself time to think. Let's all look at this book together. So just as a reminder, since we are tying Dia de los Muertos into our summative assignment, it is a time where we remember the loved ones that have passed away. It is not a time to grieve per se, but more of a time to remember and think about how much we loved them. A good connection that you can make to this is the movie Coco, the Disney movie. It is all about Dia de los Muertos. And now we're going to read a book that ties in the Hispanic heritage of the colors and everything into our summative assignment of Dia de los Muertos. It's called Rosita y Conchita. All right, let's pause for a thinking question. What special foods do you have at your celebrations? You can use the sentence stem, we eat blank at our celebrations. Ms. Wilson is going to give you 10 seconds. If you need more time, please pause the video. Couple more seconds just because it was on a weird spot. Miss Wilson is thinking, we eat tamales at our celebrations. What kind of things do you eat?
Notices something in the air carried on the breeze. It tickles her nose and almost makes her sneeze. She knows this smell. It's her sister's own recipe. Chocolate chip enchiladas. And they can only be for me. Rosita huele a algo que viene por el viento. Es algo muy rico, el olor de un alimento. Es algo que su hermana le hacía de comer. Enchiladas de chocolate y para mí deben ser. She follows the smell around the corner and up the street, chasing it just as fast as she can move her feet. She follows her nose wherever it sends her, up until she runs into a row of street vendors. She sniffs hard, but all is lost in a fog of sugary churros and bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Sit up.
Yo al rico aroma por todas las calles, con mucho ánimo y con mucha rapidez. Su naricita latió a la vuelta de un rincón, donde había varios vendedores en un callejón. Su rastro de olor le quedó muy mezclado con el olor de tacos y churros que se había acumulado. Oh, what terrible luck she's just been handed. Without the scent, she wound up quite stranded. Rosita looks around and dons the saddest kind of frowns as she found herself lost in an unfamiliar part of town. She calls her sister's name. She begins to shout. She knows she needs to find Conchita before time runs out. Pobre Rosita, qué mala suerte le venía. Sin el olor que seguir está muy perdida. Rosita no sabe para qué lado ir. No conoce esta calle, pero tiene que seguir. Llama a su hermanita, le empieza a gritar. No queda mucho tiempo, la tiene que encontrar. Conchita brings out some music and plays Rosita's favorite song. She strikes a silly pose and starts to sing along, just like they always danced and sang in front of the mirror. But Conchita just hopes that Rosita can hear her. Conchita le pone a Rosita su favorita canción. Empieza a bailar y a cantar con mucha emoción, así como le hacían las dos frente al espejo. Espera que Rosita la oiga a pesar de lo lejos. What's this? Could her ears be ringing? No, it's the sweet tones of her sister singing. Perdida y triste, Rosita casi se da por vencida cuando en ese momento escucha una canción conocida. ¿Qué es eso que oye? ¿Qué es lo que está pasando? Es la voz de su hermana. Ella le está cantando. All thanks to this happy, merry tune, Rosita's back on the trail, and none too soon. Gracias a este sonido tan fino, Rosita de vuelta ha encontrado el camino. But as soon as it started, her chase comes to a stop. Her ears are startled by a rather loud pop. There's a massive parade of happy marching souls, all of them chasing the firecracker bowl. Pero pronto se pierde lo que viene siguiendo. El sonido se ahoga bajo un gran estruendo. Hay un desfile compuesto del pueblo entero, todos correteando al torito cohetero. In all this noise, she has to cup her ears, but the singing is almost gone, just like she fears. But try as she might, the singing has been replaced by the rowdy mariachi band, now in her face. De tanto alboroto, los oídos se tapan. El sonido que busca ya pero se escapa. Ya no se oye nada de lo que Conchita cantó. Ha sido tapado por lo que el mariachi tocó. Rosita makes a dash away from the parade until all the noise begins to fade. She finds a quiet spot del desfile se ha ido, hasta que desaparece todo el ruido. Se encuentra un cerrito en donde descansar, pero ya no hay más cantos de Conchita que escuchar. The sun's going down. It's late in the day. So Conchita brought candles to light Rosita's way. The small altar no longer looks like a dark hole, as the candles make the entire room sparkle and glow. El sol está bajando, ya se hace tarde. Conchita le pone velas a Rosita para ayudar. Ya no se ve tan oscuro el altar. Las luces hacen a todo el color resaltar. With her hope now gone, she looks to the sky, trying as hard as she can, just not to cry. But out on the horizon, out very far, she sees the most beautiful twinkling of a star. Then appears another, and another, and another still. The stars keep appearing until her eyes are nearly filled. Sin mucha esperanza, Rosita mira hacia el cielo. Con lágrimas de tristeza no tiene consuelo. A la vista de una cosa maravillosa. Es una estrellita bonita y brillosa. Aparece otra y otra y otra más. Rosita se empieza a animar. Salen tantas estrellas que no se pueden contar. As Rosita nears these twinkling lights, dark clouds form and hide them from her sight. She splits her eyes and really stares, but the only thing to be seen are clouds in the air. Rosita hangs her head. She hangs it low. After going so far, she doesn't know where to go. Rosita intenta alcanzar las luces, pero no puede porque las tapan las nubes. Las busca y las busca, no sabe qué hacer. Por tantas nubes de lluvia, no hay nada que ver. Qué lástima le da, ya está por rendirse. Después de llegar tan lejos, no sabe a dónde irse. Conchita places flowers on the altar with love and affection, in hopes that these will give Rosita a little direction. She thinks marigolds will be a good reminder of their home, so Rosita can find her. Conchita le pone unas flores bonitas, espera que le ayude en su viaje a Rosita. La flor de cempasúchil será un buen guía para que Rosita se encuentre con su hermana este día. Rosita walks away, but then feels a bump in the road. She looks down and sees a small flower, a marigold. She picks up the flower. Oh, it's so pretty, just like the ones that grow in Pueblo City. Marigold flowers like these don't grow here. Rosita knows her sister must be near. Rosita nota algo sobre el campo cerril. Es una flor muy preciosa, un cempasúchil. Recoge la flor, está tan bonita como las que crecen en el pueblo donde vive Conchita. Las flores como estas no crecen por acá. Rosita sabe que a su hermana se acerca ya. Rosita picks up the flowers with a hop and a skip. She happily follows the trail until she feels a cold drip. That drip turns to 2, then 3, then 4. From drops to rain, and it's a real downpour. Water spills down the street from this rain shower and washes away her trail of marigold flowers. Rosita tries not to lose the flowers to the rain, but they all wash down to the corner of the storm drain. Con un brinco y un salto, Rosita recoge florecitas, siguiendo el camino hasta que siente unas gotitas. Esas gotitas se empiezan a acumular. De gotas a lluvia empieza a tormentar. Por todas las calles es un bañadero. Se arrastran las flores de tanto aguacero. Rosita hace lo que puede, las intenta salvar. Pobrecitas flores, al desagüe fueron a dar. Soaking wet and with nothing above her, Rosita quickly searches for cover. The awning breaks and Rosita splashed, but all she feels are how her hopes have been dashed. Hidden amidst the rain on her cheeks is a tear, for Rosita thinks she'll miss Conchita this year. Empapada y fría, Rosita busca dónde escaparse. Necesita encontrar algo con que taparse. El toldo se rompe y Rosita se baña. Queda con poca esperanza en esta calle extraña. Desilusionada, Rosita empieza a llorar. Parece que con su querida hermanita no va a llegar. Conchita worked hard on the altar from noon till night, yet something still didn't quite right. With all the decorations, it's a sight to behold. Yet why does the altar seem so cold? But before she can find that missing piece, Conchita is called to join the dinner feast.
Conchita trabajó en el altar incansablemente y algo le faltaba, pero no era evidente. El altar es hermoso con tanto ornamento, pero ¿qué faltará? ¿Qué más le aumento? Antes que Conchita pueda pensar lo que es, la llaman a participar en las festividades.
Now more than ever, the sisters feel so far apart. All that remains is the closeness in their heart. So far, all of Rosita's senses have led her astray. The only thing left is to let her heart lead the way.
Están muy separadas las hermanas, pero no sienten temor, porque lo que sienten adentro es un grande amor. Después de tantos obstáculos que la hicieron fallar, sabe que su corazón es lo único que le ayudará a llegar.
As she's about to leave, Conchita stops in her tracks. The altar doesn't need more candles or tasty snacks, nor flowers or ribbons with pretty beads. No, Conchita knows just what it needs. In a flash, she cuts across the rug. She grabs the little doll and gives it an enormous hug.
Antes de irse, Conchita se pone a pensar. Al altar no le falta más velas o flores que agregar, ni más comidas ricas o música y canto. No, Conchita sabe lo que más le faltó. Con rapidez corre hacia el altar, recoge la muñeca y la empieza a abrazar.
It's a hug with overwhelming love and joy, more than can be contained in one little toy. And with that, the altar is complete. It's now time for Conchita to make her retreat.
Es un abrazo de amor que jamás se le quita, más de lo que cabe en una muñequita. El altar ya está completo, no hay más que agregar. Ya se tiene que ir Conchita, ya no puede esperar.
Down by the road, a ray of light falls on Rosita's shoulders. She feels a comforting warmth like when her sister would hold her. Deep inside her heart, she feels a tug. She knows this warmth feels just like a hug.
De repente le cae una luz a Rosita, tan tierna como los recuerdos de su querida hermanita. Dentro de su pecho, su corazón da un gran latigazo. El calor de la luz se siente igual que un abrazo.
She opens her eyes to discover the source. What she sees is a dazzling force. It's clear that this warmth from above is the power of her sister's love.
Abre los ojos para ver lo que es, pero solo hay rayos de luz deslumbrantes. Es claro que esta luz que viene de arriba es el amor de su gemelita querida.
Conchita's gift of love clears the clouds and the rain, where love and hope are all that remain. With her sister's love, she has been freed. Rosita can now close her eyes and let her heart beat.
Este regalito de amor que Conchita le manda aclara las nubes y solo queda esperanza. El amor de su hermana la dirige al camino. Ahora con su corazón encontrará su destino.
Though much had caused her to falter, Rosita at last has reached the altar. The display is absolutely breathtaking, so much that her heart is aching.
Después de su ardua expedición, por fin Rosita ha llegado a su destinación. El altar que hizo Conchita es tan bonito que hasta le empieza a doler su corazoncito.
And there on the top of it all, Rosita spies the cute little doll.
Y sobre el altar, hacia arribita, Rosita encuentra la linda muñequita.
The warm glow from the doll shines even more brightly. In words that couldn't be any more true, she whispers, "My dearest Conchita, I love you."
Rosita le da un abrazo imponente que causa que brille radiantemente. Le dice a su hermana en una voz suavecita: "Te extraño y te quiero, mi querida Conchita."
Conchita feels a warmth surround her that can banish any chill. I love you too, Rosita, and I always will.
Conchita se
Okay, for our last thinking question of the day, do you have someone that you would think about during Dia de los Muertos? You can use the sentence stem, I think about blank on Dia de los Muertos. Miss Wilson is going to give you 10 seconds. If you need more time than that, please pause the video to give yourself enough time. Should see the thinking wheels. Miss Wilson is thinking, I think about my grandmothers on Dia de los Muertos. All right, let's stop and make some art. So it is time for us to get out our materials. Remember that you are actually making art. You are not just sitting and watching the videos. So you will need a piece of paper, a pencil, and something to color with. Miss Wilson will give you 10 seconds to silently take out your materials. If you need more time than that, please pause the video. Some reminders about making art. You are following directions, which means when Miss Wilson makes a circle, you make a circle. You pause the video if you need more time. For those in person, that means that you raise your hand. Try your best. Color from corner to corner. There should always be no white on your paper unless it's intentionally white. And make sure you add details. Let's get to work.
All right, scholars, so it's time to draw, and we have a guest for our calaveras. Let's see how awesome Miss Barraza can draw them as we are going. Okay, scholars, we're going to start with our paper vertical, that's up and down, then about a hand down. We are going to start with 2 circles, fairly large, for the eye sockets. It's basically where the eyeball would live inside your skull. Remember to think of your proportion. If one is just hugely bigger than the other, etc., you can always use your eraser and fix it. Now, make sure you can see on here. There we go. Well, focus. We're going to turn it around where your eyeballs are at the bottom, and we're going to draw a heart in the nose spot. And then you can flip it back around. Now you have an upside down heart, and it's way easier than having to draw it upside down. Sorry. You're fine. Okay, so this line is one of the hardest lines. Mind you, it's not hard, it's just a little hard to keep it in proportion. You're going to do a line down that is basically a backwards question mark coming up right underneath the nose. And that would be your cheekbone, right where your cheek pops out. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Don't forget that we are drawing light until it's right.
Oh, that's cute.
That way you don't have to take too much effort when you need to erase something because the line isn't super dark.
I don't know.
I think it looks good. Isn't Miss Barraza doing awesome? She's doing awesome. Don't let her say anything.
The lies you tell. I don't think that's right, but okay.
Yeah, it is.
We're just gonna go with it today.
And the great part about art is that you can stop if you're not sure about a line. You can stop and you can come back to it once you have some more lines on it, and you can fix it then.
One side looks like I'm a squirrel and saving.
Hey, maybe you just have some big
Look it.
cheekbones today.
Okay. Okay.
So we're going to start at the cheekbone. We're going to do a U to the other cheekbone, making the forehead.
Okay. Maybe.
And this is another one that you're just going to have to kind of eyeball.
This looks like the Red Skull.
Love the Marvel reference. And just kind of see, does your forehead have enough? Is it a big head? Like, is it too big for the eyes, etc.? Like, I'm looking at mine, I'm thinking my eyes a little bit too large on this side. I'm not getting the same feel that I have on the other side, so I can go back and adjust that. Now, when we are doing, coming from the cheekbone, we're going to reverse and curve the other way. And curve down. And this is also where I end up erasing because I end up going too far in on my cheekbone. You want to make sure you have a decent mouth area. Then we are going to pretend this line goes through. It doesn't have to be exact, but about where it goes through, we're going to do another U, just like we did at the top, from the cheekbone to the cheekbone. And this is also where you can decide, do you want it to be a more rounded chin? Do you want to chisel out the chin a little bit with more of a downward angle here? I tend to go for just a standard U because it works for me. And I don't have a chisel chin, so. There you go.
Fantastic.
Okay. Oh, you're looking good.
Okay.
It really is.
That's why you're the art teacher. You're supposed to make me feel better.
Ignore her. Anyway, so now we're going to take this line and we are just going to come back up to the curve, making a D and a backwards D. Now, ideally, they should be at the same length down. You can kind of do your little light line to help you. Guideline. Now that would be that weird space if you poke yourself in the mouth right underneath your chin or your cheekbones. There's that like gap, the hole where it's connecting. That's what that is right here. So from here, you are going to do a smile. Now, you don't want it to be a big smile because that's creepy. So you want it to be just a slight curve on your smile just to show that it's rounded rather than showing just a big old smile because skulls don't smile like that.
You don't want to be like the one on Coco where his dentist has his picture on the front of it.
Exactly. Sorry. You're good. The scholars would be the first to tell you when you make a mistake. That's what erasers are for.
Okay, I don't like it, but go.
Okay, so we're going to do a vertical line about where the nose, the middle of the nose is, and just a vertical line about the length of where your D's are. And then you're going to cut half into two more and the other half into two more with vertical lines. So, dun, 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 dun. And now we're going to play what Miss Wilson calls the hippity hop game. So, basically you are just going to go from line to line, making curved lines. They can get out of hand and not be very clean looking, which is why I like to do the rhythmic of the hippity hop. Hip, hop, hippity hop. Hip, hop, hippity hop. Hip, hop, hippity hop. It slows me down when I'm making lines like this. I know I sound ridiculous since this is for my older babies. It sounds a little ridiculous, but it slows me down long enough to make my teeth look right rather than and then they're all over the place. So now we have our skull. You are going to use your knowledge of Hispanic heritage that we talked about earlier in the video to decorate your skull and to color it. Now, I would suggest that the background of the skull color be one color, just because with all the decorations, it's going to be way too much. But it is your drawing. It's up to you. And for the background, the regular background, I chose a mixture of yellows and oranges to mimic the Marigold Bridge from the land of the remembered to the land of the living. So let's see what we come up with. Okay, scholars, so here's some great examples of what Ms. Barraza and I came up with. Coloring from corner to corner, adding details of what we feel needs to be added for our loved ones that have passed, and using all the symbolism of Hispanic heritage. So let's see what you come up with.
Bye.
All right, scholars, so it's time for you to independently finish your art. As you're about to do that, we need to look at our reminders. When you are finished with your art, please take a picture. Hopefully soon we'll be able to have some place to put them. I would love to see them. My email is at the bottom of the screen if you want to send it to me. And the most important reminder of all, stay safe, wash your hands. I miss you.